What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Knives of the Round Table. My name is Marco, and today we're going to be doing something a little different. The video has been requested quite a bit on how do you remove the scales on a Spyderco knife. So the problem with the Spyderco knives is that, as opposed to every other knife maker out there, the lanyard tube right here in the back has been press fitted, which means that once you remove the screws that hold the knife together, you can't very well take the lanyard tube off. It's very difficult to do. Depends on it kind of depends on the knife a little bit. I've had ones where I was able to just get it out, and some knives where I couldn't. So I'm gonna show you a technique on this. Now, note that when you disassemble a knife, you do it at your own risk. These are all the caveats. The technique I can show you has some risk, and I'm gonna show you what that risk is. But it's also a technique that I've used numerous times, and it works for me. So what we're going to need, the pivot has a T10 and the scales have a I believe it's a T8. So let's get started with that. Let me see. Okay. So let's get started with this disassembly. Okay, so we've got one of the T8s. So I like that they've got T8s here and then T10 on the pivot. That's really good. Stand them up so that they don't roll off. Okay, and then let's get this pivot out of here. Okay, and now the knife is apart. So let me show you what I mean. Let me get the blade out of the way so that I don't. So what happens is you're at this stage. You get to this point right here. Let me get that phosphor bronze washer. Okay, and now the lanyard tube doesn't let you really well. This one came off fairly easily, but this is not always the case. Okay, this is not always the case. So now I'm going to show you how to do it in case the lanyard tube doesn't want to release the scale and the liner. In this case, so like I said, it kind of depends on the knife. In this one, I was able to extract it, but that's really not the norm. Let's see if I can. Let's do this other side. You know what? So one of the disadvantages here, and I'll show you how to solve this, is that the pin, this top pin, is free spinning, right? Once you release one side, the other side's free spinning. So the way that I fix that is that I grab a pair of pliers, okay? But you don't really want to use your pair of pliers directly on this because you're gonna mar it, okay? So what I do is I take a piece of cloth, just any cloth or napkin or something to protect it. In this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put just a little piece of cloth right here, and I'm going to grab onto it that way, like that. And now I can get this to release. There we go. Okay, and because I grabbed it with a pair of pliers, as you can tell here, there's no marks on it whatsoever. Okay. What did I do? Okay. Yep. There we go. this goes here, and I may have the exact same problem with this one in the back. We'll see. Yeah, same problem. So again, cover it up so that I don't screw it up. Hold on to it, and get it released. There we go. Now, of course, if you have a tray, it's much better to do on a tray, okay? Don't forget that on this side, all of the pocket clips are also holding on to the liner, okay? So you have to release the liner as well. So let me do that. And I believe those are T6s, maybe. Let's see. Hold on. Yeah, I think they're T6s. Okay, we've got a T6. Yeah. Removing the pocket clip. Okay. So now that we've got everything released, yeah. Now what you're gonna have to do is get on underneath this side, okay? And what I typically do here is one of two things. If you have a screwdriver, okay, and this is way too fat, okay, but I'm just trying to show you what's gonna happen. A thinner screwdriver, you pass the round portion in between the scale and the liner, and then you start working it that way. So I'm going to show you here with a ruler, and this is my preferred method here because this ruler, it kind of has a triangular shape. So you go this way with it slowly, and when you get to here, it'll pop out. Now everybody says, or a lot of people say, that you have to be careful with that just so that you don't bend the liner, right? Because you're putting pressure this way to remove the liner, right? And yeah, well, I guess that's something that could happen. I found that the pressure of the tube is never so large that it bends the liner. I've disassembled Manixes, pair 2s, pair 3s. I've changed the scales many times on my knives, and I've never had any problems just moving, working this towards the back, and then it snaps off. It'll release before it bends. So it's a simple technique. Now there is a tool that you can buy to push and release this, but and I would say get the tool if you're a hardcore Spyderco fan, right? If you're a hardcore Spyderco fan that's gonna be taking a lot of these off, then yeah, by all means, get that tool. But if you just have a couple Spydercos and you just want to have some of them, then don't do that. Then you can just use this technique. Like I said, I've changed the scales on another pair 2. I've changed the scales on my pair 3. I've done it on several of my Manix knives, and I think that technique, it works very well. Obviously, so this one is kind of an ideal shape. It's kind of a wedge shape. But if you have a thin circular screwdriver, you can just push in, and it creates kind of a wedge. Then that'll work very well for you. Well, guys, this is going to be a short one. Hopefully this is helpful to you. Again, disassembling a knife always carries risk, always carries a certain degree of it requires, well, there's a certain degree of danger of you screwing up your knife. Just be careful. Don't do it if you don't know what you're doing. Don't do it if you're not comfortable with it. Okay, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If it was helpful to you, then like and subscribe. Don't get notified. Nobody likes to get more emails. And until I see you at the next one, you know where to find me. Take care.